fire are no longer in place this evening. In more news, in some places like India, residents must abide by a caste system, which determines one's standing in society there. Class is determined by birth, which can affect the opportunities people are offered in life. And while the strict separation exists overseas, the California university system is working to get rid of the divide many students feel follows them here to the U.S. 23 ABC's Rosara Simone spoke with local students who have faced discrimination and has more on the university system's latest policy.
In speaking with two CSU students, I learned that although they were joyful caste was added to the anti-discrimination policy, they say there's still work to be done.
Now that caste is clearly named, there's also now a necessity to ensure that the folks who are really in charge of handling these complaints on respective campuses, like these various investigators, now are trained and have that caste competency as well to be able to support the survivors who come forward.
Manmeet Singh is a Master's of Ethnic Studies student at San Francisco State University, which is a part of the 23 CSU campuses. He says that during the movement to get caste implemented into the anti-discrimination policy, many tried to stop them.
There were folks who were gaslighting them, using intimidation tactics and saying, what do you mean caste does not exist? And throughout this work, we have been facing these.
Recent social work graduate Prem Padiyar started this movement back in 2019 when he noticed he was on the receiving end of caste discrimination, not only from those in positions of power, but also from peers.
When I introduced this way, then they looked at me from top to bottom, They looked at me so strangely. It means they were I easily understood how biased they were.
Padiyar says one way to know caste is by last name, and when he would introduce himself, people knew right away how they would treat him. That is why he wanted to get caste implemented as soon as possible.
We have heard the idea that there has been discrimination amongst the population based on caste. And while we can't necessarily point to those numbers and say, we have all of these cases represented, there have been examples that have been brought to us.
CSU spokesperson Mike Eulenkamp says that is why they moved to add caste to the anti-discrimination policy and reiterated that if someone did need to file a complaint, that the process has not changed.
They would file that with the Title IX office and then lodge a formal complaint. So whether that's a student or an employee or potentially even someone who is a visitor to the campus, there are different ways to do that. We have that outlined through this process.
This policy was added to all 23 CSU campuses, but CSUB was not able to tell us how they plan to implement this policy. Still, Singh and Padiyar are hopeful.
The power and commitment to love and justice is in itself so transformative and is unstoppable. And we're really seeing that this work is unstoppable because it is really moving us towards worlds that we want to be a part of.
CSU spokesperson Mike Eulenkamp says that equity and diversity will always be at the forefront for all CSU campuses. For more information on the caste anti-discrimination movement, head to our website at turn223.com. In Bakersfield, Rosalda Simone, 23 ABC Connect.